Hey everybody, Stu here. Today we have episode 2 of The Road Less Taught. Today we're going to be focusing on the picking hand and the certain hiccups that I had when I was starting and playing out, and hopefully what I show you today will help you out. First and foremost, how you hold the guitar is key, especially when you're starting out. How I'm holding it right now is the proper way to hold the guitar. If you stand up and you have it strapped, this is the profile that you're going to have. You know, your hand's going to be down here, fretting hand's going to be up here, and the guitar is going to be at an upward angle. So when you sit down, you want to have it cradled right in here. You can get a little foot stand to raise your leg up to have it rest nice and comfortably here, but this is the profile that you're going to want when you're starting out. It's going to help access the frets on your left hand or right hand, and this hand is going to be much more comfortable. Later on, you can switch to this style once you're comfortable with reaching around the fret, reaching around the necks, doing everything that is not natural to the hands. But as you're learning, let's get into the habit of this. Now, when it comes to holding the pick, I'm actually a left-handed person, and I ended up playing guitar right-handed, which is a miracle because I can basically buy any guitar I want that's out there. I can go to any pro shop and have a guitar made for me, and it's typically less expensive. Left-handed guitar players, I feel you, man. Sorry I ditched out on you guys, but I know the struggles. A good buddy of mine who's in a death metal band here in Chicago, he's left-handed, and it can be challenging to get the guitar that you want. So what I did when I first started playing guitar is, I hold a pen like this. Okay. So, right stuff. So what I did is I kind of just mirrored that. And I did this thing I did a 3-finger technique and played it that way. Now, there are some advantages and there are some disadvantages to playing this. The advantages are that when you're rocking on the low strings, you get a lot of power. You can play pretty hard and fast at the same time. You can get some great sounding triplets out of that if you're riding or galloping rhythms on the low E. You can really wail on chords. That's really the big advantage, is the power that you get from having the 3-finger technique. The disadvantages are, if you want to play fast or shredding or sweep picking or anything like that, this is where having 3 fingers all on the pick is really going to start to get into the way. You're not going to play cleanly. You're not going to play fluidly. So what I started to do was switch between a few different ways of holding the pick. Whenever I would be doing rhythm, I'd be doing my 3-finger technique. And then if I was doing anything fast, I would do like this weird pitchy kind of thing where I would pinch the pick and go around like this. And then if I was sweep picking, I would pinch, but I would use the top part like this. And then I would sweep like that. But this is very, very hard to do, and switching around while you're trying to play live especially is a nightmare. I mean, you can drop the pick, you're not playing cleanly. You really need to have everything the same. What I mean by that is the ultimate goal here for holding a guitar pick is to hold it the same way for everything. Find what works for you, and this is going to take time, but find what works for you. And what ended up working for me the best is doing kind of a hybrid between the straight flat pinching and curling underneath like that. So I kind of hold the pick like this, which is not all the way rolled on top and it's not all the way pinching. It's kind of in between here. And that's where I eventually ended up resting. And then this is now where I can rock out. Figure out what feels comfortable for you, because now what we have to do is place the hand properly on the guitar itself. Now, you may be thinking you're just going to rest it here and then put your hand down this way. This seems natural. This is not the proper way to go about finding where your hand is going to rest comfortably. You start with the hand. Now, for beginners, you may learn some stuff on the low string. So you're going to want to place your hand comfortably at the top of the bridge, and then you can rest your arm and see where the angle is. Don't try to copy what other people do. Figure out what's comfortable. Rest your arm down on the body. And now what you can do is you can take your pinky, which is what I do, and kind of bridge. And that's kind of like an anchor point for me. So now that we have our hand and arm positioned, now we can start to play a little bit. And for beginners, so that's a great starting point, and just keep on doing that. Hold the pick the way you're holding your pick, the way that feels comfortable for you, and just keep on doing that, man, over and over and over again. You can start off with all downstrokes. You just keep on doing that. Then try alternate picking. Alternate picking is a downstroke followed by an upstroke. And just keep on doing that. Slow, steady. That's what you need, as long as everything's fluid. Now, mechanically speaking, when we're talking about the picking hand, we've covered how the guitar should be resting, how you should be holding your pick, preferably with 2 fingers, especially if you want to be a shredder, sweep picker, all that stuff. If you want to be more of a complete guitarist, that's, 2 fingers is the best. We've covered the position that you want to play. Now, mechanically, how this all works, if you look at any great guitar player, is the wrist is what does all of the work. The forearm here, think about it kind of like an actuator arm. This is going to make your major adjustments for your wrist. So is the upper arm and the shoulder. This is all about getting your wrist in the right spot to have your wrist do the work. Your wrist is what's going to be doing all the speed picking, all the alternate picking, all the string skipping, all the arpeggiated stuff. That's what it's going to do. So now we can start focusing in on the more advanced stuff. And the more advanced stuff is going to be speed picking. I know everybody wants to learn speed picking. They want to play as fast as humanly possible, but that's just going to come with time. We're not there yet in our journey. One thing to help you build speed is doing accent picks. Now what that means is on the one beat, you do a little bit of a harder pick to keep yourself in time, especially if you're playing to a metronome. If you got your beat going, here we go. So you can sit there and you can rock it like that. And then just do that at slower paces. Sit there and just take your time. By building that and taking it slow, what you're focusing on when you're slower is keeping your arm pretty much anchored and focusing on the wrist, because you cannot achieve speed if your arm is tensed up. If you're tensing your whole arm and you're flexing and you're trying to do a spasm type of thing, it ain't gonna work. This is not... That's not gonna work. It's gonna come out sloppy. So you wanna get your wrist comfortable with doing this motion. It has to. Simple as that. Build it up. Take your time. It will come. Another thing, and this is for advanced players. One thing that I'm going to recommend that you do is go over to your amp when you're practicing by yourself in your room. Switch over to the clean channel. Now, why are we going to switch over to clean channel? You may be fearing what I'm about to say, but I'm afraid we're going to go there. Practice without any distortion. The reason being is that you want to be sure that you're playing as cleanly as possible, and distortion will mask little mistakes, where playing on clean will broadcast all of your mistakes. So what I mean by that is with sweep picking, actually let me go back to the distortion real quick. With sweep picking, I'm not going to call anybody out, but you can see people on YouTube, even big YouTubers on there, that do these sweep picks that are just raking, but their hands are moving very fast, but it's not super clean. They'll and it's like, what are you doing? Like that's just, I don't know. If you have an ear, you can hear it. I can't. I'm trying to play that sloppy, but they'll do it real quick, and it sounds super impressive, and all of that. And you're like, wow. And it's like, no. Turn yourself to the clean channel, and now that we're in the clean channel, go ahead and focus on your sweep picking. And every little mistake, if you don't hit a note right, it's going to come out. And then you can focus on the sticking points in your patterns. Same thing with speed picking. You can run your scales up and down like that at a slower pace. You can pick it up a little bit. And really focus in on where your problems are. What this is going to do ultimately is once you work out all of your kinks and you work out where your problem spots are, and now you can start doing things So now, once you're done working out all the little kinks, what you can do is you can do an A minor, and it sounds clean. You can hear all the notes. So when you go to distortion, it sounds clean. And when you play fast patterns, when you're shredding, when you're even pentatonic, it's going to sound better with distortion. So practice clean. Now, exercises for the picking hand, and you can do, remember, when you're practicing, nothing has to be musical. You can literally sit there and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can just go up and down and pay attention to your arm. This hand, we can rest down and we can sit here and just do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, as you're going through, pay attention to what the wrist is doing. It's all the wrist. Now my forearm, biceps, triceps, and shoulders are making sure that my wrist stays there. It's the anchor point. It's the actuator arm. Now, if I need to go up higher than these three, generally is where I need to start moving my wrist. If I try to jump up to the G string here, a little too angled, and my pick now is too up and down. So what I have to do is I just have to slide, take my arm, just do a little adjustment. That's it. That's it. And you can sit there and do that all day if you want. Do that for 15 minutes straight. Just set it to a metronome. And you can go up and down. Now, for finger picking, let me put that down. Basically the same as far as resting your hand. But you're not going to do a whole lot of arm movement unless you're doing like stuff like that. You're going to do a little soloing with your fingers. But if you're going to start off like play the beginning of Nothing Else Matters. It's great. Remember, nothing has to be super musical. You can practice your finger rolls. And you can just focus on that. A very popular thing, especially in the metal community, is playing with your thumb and first finger, and you can actually achieve a lot of cool stuff with using just those two fingers. One of my personal favorite clean parts is this. And that's all played with that. Now, if you want to get a little more technical on it, you can have some fun with that too. But if you want to sit there and you want to roll your fingers, you want to do something a little faster, but you're going to be keeping your wrist pretty much in the same spot. But I think that's just about going to cover it now. We did some basic stuff, we did some advanced stuff. So if there's anything you want me to cover, go ahead and make a comment, let me know. And I will go ahead and focus that on the next video. Because the next one I want to do is where we're going to get into a little more advanced picking hand stuff. So I'll see you in the next video. Peace.